In this video, I'm going to show how to read from a text file. We want to read the contents of a file called makelist.txt and then output the content of line 4 in the standard output. And I'm actually going to show you two ways of doing this. One that is the easiest one, and then the other that has advantages in other situations that I want you to see. So I already have the file called makelist.txt in the same folder of this script, and the content of that file is a series of car makers. We want the content of line 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we want Bentley. And the mistake that I often see in people that are starting to program is to come here, see what they want to print, and then just get here and say, okay, print Bentley. Sure, that does print Bentley, but the goal is to print whatever is in the fourth line, and so if we change the file, it also has to change what it prints. We don't want it to print what we read. This has to work without human interaction. So this is no good. We actually want to open the file, read the contents, and print the line that we want. So to do that, I'm going to use the with open, and we used this open in other videos, but this time we are not going to write, so it's not a W. We are going to read, so it's an R. I still need to give the name of the file. Remember, the file has to be in the same folder where the script is, and we need to be careful with uppercase and lowercase because it is case sensitive. Make list.txt with M and L in uppercase, and give a name to that object so that we can manipulate it. I'm going to call it the maker file. And now the easiest way to capture the lines and then print the one we want is to grab the file, place each line in a position in the list, and then get the position that we want. So I'm going to need to store those results in somewhere. It's a temporary variable that I need to use here. I'm going to call it my temp variable. And to grab all the lines and place it in the list, I'm going to grab the file, the maker file, dot, and then I'm going to read lines. It's a method, so I need the brackets. And just for the purpose of this demonstration, it's not what we want to do in the script, but for you to see what's in that content. And it's a good practice when we are programming to output the things that we want to see what's in there so that we make sure that we are doing the right thing. I'm going to print the content of my temp variable, and what I'll get is a list with all those elements. So here it is, it's a list, and in the first position we have Alfa Romeo, and in the second we have Aston Martin. And keep in mind that lists are indexed starting at 0. So the first position has index 0, the second position has index 1, and the third position has index 2. So what I want is line 4, which will be in the third position, well, fourth position, third index, index 3, and so I just tell that I don't want the entire my temp variable, but just index 3. And I got the Bentley that I was looking for. If instead of placing 3, I would place 6, I would get Bugatti, and so it's 6, it's the 7th line. Index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would get the Bugatti. But what we want is the 4th, so we are going to say 3. And this is the best way to do this exercise. But just for you to learn another method in the manipulation of files when we are reading them, I'm going to comment this, and I'm going to do it in a different way for you to see. So we still need to open the file, same thing. But now, instead of doing read lines, I'm going to do read line. What this will do is it's going to read a line from the object, the maker file, which has a copy of the file, and then consume that line. It's going to disappear, which means that I can print and just going to print a separator, something just for us to see what happens. The next time I do the same, let me print the my temp variable before the separator, and then repeat the same operation for you to see what happens. So if I do this, the first time I printed I got Alfa Romeo. Then the second time I read the line, it's going to read the next line, and so I got the Aston Martin. So to use read line and print the fourth line of the file, what I need to do is to excuse me, to go through this multiple times until I get to the line 4, and only print when I get to line 4. So to do a loop, I'm going to use the for loop, which I discussed in another video. If you need to revisit that video, pause here and go and watch the for loop video. For I in range, and I need to start in index 0 because it's always going to get the first line. Well, actually I can start anywhere as long as I move. But if I start in range 0 to 4, I'm going to do the 0, 1, 2, 3, which is the lines. If I did 1, I would have to go to 5 to get that last line. So I'm going to read the line, and I'm only going to print, not always, but only if I equals, and it's the last one, it's the 3. So starting at 0, line 4 will be in the 3. And notice that to compare I with 3, I'm using 2 equals. That's how we compare. If I tried using only 1, I would get an error because I was trying to assign the 3 to an I, and that's inside the range. So I need 2 equals here. And this, I forgot. It's multiple things. I forgot that I need to place this in the block inside the 4. And so here I go. And I got the Bentley. So this is another way of consuming the lines, but by doing this I lost access to the first and the second line. If I need to go back to those, I'll have to reopen the file from beginning. The way this works is that when I do the open, the entire content goes to the object that we are naming the maker file. And so readline consumes them, while readlines sends everything to that variable that we are using. So 2 different ways of doing it. I would argue that the first is easier, but there's knowledge that is valuable in both situations.